just want to know, after you're completing your education, what about the placements? Do companies come and then they
Yeah.
hire you? How's
Yeah, I
that?
think that's a valid question. So, in terms of placements, there is no such thing as a placement drive or anything, or campus placements for that matter. You'd have to find your own jobs, but every year, twice in a year, they'd have like a career fair where all of the companies would come to your university and set up stalls in the main building as well as your local faculties, uh, just to show their existence, and they'll give you out brochures and goodies and everything. You can talk to the recruiters directly and find out what's their requirements. So it'll help you align to their requirements even before you graduate. So let's say I've been seeing from the first year until the last year all of the companies and how many companies have increased in its flow. What are the top employers? What are their requirements? And you can plan from the first year onwards what their requirements are, and then even apply for internships as such. They do actively recruit. One added benefit of studying here is that when you're a student, there is no limit on the number of hours you can work. So most European countries, or even the US for that matter, has a limit of 20 hours per week if you're a student. But here there's no limit. You can work full time while you're a student and also study full time. On this path of having full time studies as well as full time work. So after I finished my first year of studies, that's in the third semester, I joined this mid-sized startup that was basically working on IoT devices and hardware systems. And I joined there as a firmware developer as an intern for 3 months.
So it's like you started working when you were 18?
19, I guess. Yeah, 19.
So even before you graduated, you started working.
Yeah, that's one added benefit. So you get to work full time. So by the time you graduate, you can have 2 to 3 years of solid work experience in the relevant domain. So it's not like you'd be delivering pizzas or working at Uber or anything of that sort. Well, that is an option, but I think it would serve the purpose if you're working in the same domain, with this benefit of working while you're studying in the same domain.
So that's common here. Like
it's very common here. A lot of students do it. So I started doing it from the first year until the last year of studies. So by the time I graduated, I had 3.5 years of full work experience, and this was also registered in the social security systems. So if an employer did a background check on me, they'd know that I actually did work for 3 years. So it's not like it's not like it doesn't just stand as a contract between me and a company. It's also registered in the history of SSN. So later on, when I want to get a PR or anything of that sort, this experience is definitely going to add value.
Once you complete your studies and then you get a job, what is the minimum salary expectation you can have once?
Right. So if you're experienced here, in the year of 2020 or 19, I think, and if you're into, let's say, programming, some of the basic fields in programming, right? So let's classify them. So you have front end development, that you work only on web, the front end part of web, and then you have back end development. You have DevOps, and you have machine learning and data science streams as well. So if you start with front end and back end development, I think you can maybe start with somewhere around 7,000 zlotys to 10,000 zlotys. That's a range what companies are offering right now.
For a starter who has like a minimum of 1 to 2 years experience?
Yeah, for a starter with 1 to 2 years experience. And once that picks up, negotiating powers will be in your hand to negotiate what salary you want, and I think that's again up to you. And if you take courses such as data science or machine learning and artificial intelligence, they are streams that actually pay even more. So you could even get more than 10,000 zlotys with a year or two of experience in even in startups and mid-size and large companies.
And how about work permit? Because in case if I have not studied in Poland, I have to come work in Poland, I will have to get a work permit to work here.
Yeah.
So do you guys also need a work permit to work here after completing a course?
Not really. The thing is, when you study here from a public university, your degree serves as a work permit, so you don't need an additional work permit after your studies. You just need the right to stay. So let's say you're looking for a job after your studies. Typically, you'd have around 2 years of stay back visa to search a job. And let's say that you found a job, so the company doesn't have to sponsor your visa and your documents and so on. Sponsoring is the process of giving you the documents, not paying for your lawyer fees or not paying for your application fees. I think that's a very that's a big misconception mostly. So whatever documents they have to provide, if you don't have a work permit, a company has to follow an additional couple of steps to produce that permit for you. But because you have the degree, the company can avoid all of that. So there's less time, energy, and money involved in the company to produce this permit. And you can work as long as you want for a maximum duration of 3 years, and after that you just need to procure some documents and resubmit it to the immigration office, and you just get it extended.
Okay.
And if you want to change jobs, you don't need another employer sponsoring your permit. You can change jobs, so it's not locked to a certain employer. The second benefit is that you can even work in 2 companies at the same time if you want.
Oh.
Right. So what happens is there's 3 types of contracts. So there's umawa o zlacenia, umawa o prace, which is the most common. So employment of contract, and there's another thing called B2B, business to business, and it's very common here to open a single entity company. And you can work for a company. So you don't work as an employer, you work as a contractor.
Okay.
And it's very common here. So the questions could be, do you get the same benefits and treatment? Yes, you do get the same benefits, treatments, everything. Maybe a couple of things might not be available, but you do get a lot more money. So there's a lot of differences in the way your salaries are taxed. There's a lot of difference in the way you pay social security and so on. So comparatively, the locals here say that working B2B is way more beneficial for them. Monetarily, basically. So you can even set up your own single entity company and work. And the government does not restrict you to work with 1 or 2 companies. It's only the company. So if you have a contract between you and the company that you're supposed to work only for them, that's between you and them, but the government doesn't intervene when you want to work with multiple companies.
If I get a B2B contract from any of the employer here, so I can work in multiple companies which has B2B.
Yeah, exactly. It can, as long as one of your employers states that you can't.
Okay.
Right. So in that case, if you can manage 2 8-hour shifts, I think it's totally possible.
That's all the questions which I had. And yeah, thank you so much, Pratik, for coming here and then answering all the questions and then clearing all our doubts. I think I will leave your Instagram link in my description so that people whoever have their doubts on studying or any such questions, I think they can connect with you for more information. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kavya, for having me. This was my first ever experience in front of an interview like this, and it was nice. So if you have any questions or if you'd like to know more, please reach out to me on my LinkedIn or on my Instagram or email ID as mentioned below. So yeah, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.